Good afternoon, StarCraft 2 players and puppies. This is Anaris. It is Monday, October 11th, 2010. Today we have a 1 versus 1 on Shakuras Plateau. And here we have oGs.Gon spawning as Terran. And then over here we have JangMinChul spawning as the Yellow Protoss. So, from what I tell of JangMinChul so far, I couldn't really find too much about him. I know he was participating somewhat in the GSL. I also know that right now he's a 2307 Diamond player in the Korean server, so pretty exciting stuff there. And then, of course, we have Gon over here, who was participating in the GG Invitational. So, little tiny bit of background for both of these players. As you can see, Supply Depot just went down at just the rear end of 10 supply, which is now 11. It's about halfway done, and we do have a pylon which just finished, so went down a little bit earlier for JangMinChul, and it looks like he is currently boosting out his probes as well. So very likely to see a gateway going down in the near future. As you can see, this probe heading out as we speak. So yep, sure enough, it was placed at the top of his base, and you can see a barracks was placed as well for the Terran player. No gas yet, of course. It's a well, I'd say it's 13 supply. You usually see a gas around 13 or 14, so we'll have to see in the next minute or so what happens. Sure enough, there is the gas for the Terran player. As you can see, the Protoss player is starting to scout right now. Now, I haven't really had a chance to play in this map yet, but I did notice when I was watching this replay, there's a ridiculously short rush distance right here. I mean, this is pretty crazy. And also, I want to point out there's definitely a smiley face here, so that makes me very happy. And you can see this Protoss player is kind of scouting around, see what there is to see. And for now, you know, both players are just building up their forces, and you can take a look at the APM so far in the game. Both are sitting at about 150, 160, pretty close to one another. And of course, you can see neither player really has an army because we're just getting into the early parts of the game. Taking a look at the spending, you can see that JangMinChul has invested just a tiny bit more. And so yeah, so we do have a cybernetics core going down here, and the gateway not producing any zealots so far. Pretty much you will see that we do have a second gas going down here, so that's about on time for a pretty standard build so far. So we're probably not going to see a 4-gate build this game, I'm guessing, but we'll take a look here. As you can see, the supply depot here was lowered, and we do have a factory on the way. So 1 barracks, 1 factory for Gon, and we do see that his mule was dropped here, and another gas is going down. So, like I said, both players just macroing up. It looks like JangMinChul is sitting at 23 of 26 supply right now, as he is warping in 1 zealot and 1 sentry. Meanwhile, we do have a tech lab going down here on the barracks. It did just complete. We do have a marauder on the way. No technology being researched just yet. It's pretty common to see fairly marauder heavy builds in the early game for Terran players versus Protoss, especially with the concussive shells upgrade. So I do want to point out this probe is definitely doing the Husky dance. Yeah, I remember seeing a Husky game a while back, and the sliding probe and whatnot. So I just want to point out this probe is definitely getting down with its bad self, as we do have a sentry getting ready to run into and try to kill the SCV here. And the SCV might get out. You can see there's actually some pretty good attack move action there by JangMinChul with his sentry, and the zealot's going to continue to chase it around here. So we do have a Stargate going down. I'm not sure if the SCV will live long enough to get back over and see it. It just might. If the sentry is able to come off and get a couple more shots in, it will be able to kill the SCV, but it's going to double back and not see it. So the Terran player will not know that there is a Stargate here at the top of the ramp, which is blocked off by the rocks. You can see there is a factory going over. So the Terran player will probably see in the near future what is going on, as he does have his starport down. He is not getting any add-ons for it just yet. He is getting a medevac though. So, like I said, he is going to scout that fairly quickly. Probe's still chilling in the middle of the map, and SCV is coming back to the base. So, like I said, I do like this map actually. It's very aesthetically pleasing. I haven't really had a chance to play on it yet, so I don't really have an opinion on the balance, but that's okay. So we do have the factory here going over the Stargate. He can see that there is something on the way, and if he was paying attention, he can see there is a void array. You can see the little outline of it right there building. You can see for the Terran player, he is throwing down a second factory and a second barracks as well. You can see he's keeping up on his energy pretty well. Looks like he needs to drop a mule in just a second here. And taking a look at the income for both players, you can see that JangMinChul is sitting about 100 or so higher. And we have a little bit of a skirmish here. A couple Marauders trying to take on the Protoss forces. Really not too much that's going to really happen from this. You can see he is trying to take out the Sentry, which lived with 4 hit points. However, the Terran player was able to get out the Marauders before the medevac was destroyed. So that Sentry definitely did die. The Marauders did it as well in the medevac, but I would say that was probably a net gain actually for the Protoss player. So you can take a look at, there's a Viking heading out here trying to scout out the map just a little bit, seeing if there's any sort of proxy positions being placed at the moment. Factory coming back to the base, getting ready to be placed down. Might see a tech lab add-on. It's hard to see. We'll just have to see what happens here as another Viking is being built, just about complete. Let's take a look at the production tab. You can see that stim packs are on the way, as well as another Void Ray just about complete. Got a bunker here as well. So let's actually see where that bunker is at. I think it's right there. Yep, right there in the middle of the map, or the middle of the base. So you can see the Protoss has broken through his rocks now. A couple of Vikings getting over here scouting. He sees that the rocks are destroyed, so he's probably thinking that he is going to have to bolster his southeastern defenses, which right now there's not a whole lot going on. If the Protoss were to come out and make a push, he would be able to do some pretty good amount of damage, so we don't have a bunker here yet. So gonna have to see how Terran handles this, as this attack will come within the next probably 45 seconds or so. Not too much damage being put on the rocks just yet. Looks like the Stalkers were trying to get some free shots on the Vikings. You can see now there is a bunker going down. The Terran player is definitely aware of this impending attack. As you can see, he is continuously scouting with his Vikings, keeping an eye on the Protoss forces, trying to see exactly what is getting ready to attack, while barely dodging the attack of the Stalkers there. So more units are being warped in at the top of the Protoss ramp. You can see a couple of Zealots and a warp... Void Ray just spawned down. So we have 3 Void Rays total, and he is building a proxy pylon just at the base of the ramp. I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, man, this is an extremely short rush distance, and a proxy pylon is going to make it even worse. So you can see that the Protoss player is about to break through the rocks. He is very close, but counting down from 350. SCV just hanging up here. Probably scouting, not sure what's going on with that, but the Terran player is probably going to be okay. Maybe he does have enough units to really hold this off if he does hold the position at the top of the ramp, and he is able to keep these Void Rays from charging up on the rocks, which you can see the Void Rays are now charged. They are doing considerable amount of damage. There was a hallucination there to distract some of the Terran forces from attacking the real Void Rays. However, the Protoss player was able to get up top of the ramp. His Zealots are charging up now, doing a lot of damage to the Terran forces, which are not being kited back. SCVs were, however, taken off of the mineral line and used as meat shields for the Terran infantry. Really, I think that was then sort of a... I mean, that was definitely a good move, but a little bit act of desperation at the moment. You can see that he's not in too much of a terrible spot, but he definitely has to do some good kiting, which you can see that he did do there with his Marines and Marauders, and he did land his Vikings as well to take care of the remainder of the forces. A couple more Stalkers were warped in. You can see that the SCVs are trying to do some extra damage as the Vikings are dying very slowly. There they go, both of them right there at the same time. We do have a Hellion here with getting some pretty good shots on the Zealots, not being kited though at this point. As you can see, the SCVs are running back to the mineral line as the Terran forces do mop up this fight. So all in all, it was a pretty good push by the Protoss. However, the Terran did come out relatively unscathed. You can, however, see in the income that the Terran income was definitely hurt in both minerals and gas. You can see that there's 1 SCV working on this gas and 2 working on this one. So gonna have to see some mules drop pretty soon, and SCV is built up pretty quick if the Terran player wants to come back, because even though that push did ultimately fail to kill the Terran player, the Protoss was able to knock out the economy a good bit. So you can see the Terran player is now countering, taking out the proxy pylon, stimming, trying to catch some of these Stalkers, which you can see are kiting. The concussive shells upgrade is definitely showing play right here, as they was able to stop the Stalkers from really running out of range of the Terran infantry. So battle's getting pretty close, pretty down to it, but ultimately I think the Protoss is going to lose this particular battle here. As you can see that he is actually warping a few more Zealots and another Sentry, which actually was kited and killed before it was fully warped in by Gon's Marauders, which you can see are pretty low health. So he is going to retreat back here, and he is going to leave the proxy pylon He's probably going to come out here in just a second. Yep, he is going to attack that now with the Medivac. So the Protoss player does see that, and he is warping in a couple more units. You can see, because the pylon was destroyed, the unit that was warping in right there was destroyed as well. This one Marauder getting his foot caught in the force fields. Poor guy. As you can see, these Marauders are continuing to kite these Zealots. And really, I don't think these guys have the speed upgrade. No, they do not, so they are not able to catch up with the Marauders. You can see the Protoss player is actually not building anything at this exact moment. Taking a look at his income, you can see that it is still sitting a tiny bit. Well, no, it's about average for, or it's about in tune with the other guy. So you can tell that both players are expanding right now as the Terran player is trying to put more pressure on the Protoss forces. However, the Protoss are continuing to push out the sentries, which is actually a very good move. It's going to be very good in delaying the Terran player. However, these two Medivacs here will definitely lend themselves well to the mobility needed to maintain this push. You can see here that he is warping in a couple more Stalkers, so we are very likely to see a couple more force fields, but the energy on these sentries so far pretty low, so he might not have enough to do any more force fields just yet. However, he is trying to bait the Terran forces up the ramp and split them right here. So split their forces in half. It'd be a pretty good move. However, it's still waiting on the energy for the force field. Stargate does go down, as well as the Zealot. Yep, sure enough, it went down right there. You can see it. 3 more Zealots are being warped in. Force field went down, blocking these reinforcements from getting up to the top of the ramp. However, the Terran is able to attack some more of these Zealots and get in. And I think he's trying to just make a play to live as long as possible, do as much damage as he can. He probably knows he's not going to ultimately win this particular battle because he just doesn't have the reinforcements coming in just yet. But he does have a couple more Marauders. So at this point, I mean, it's pretty close. You know, it could go either way, although it definitely did not go the way the Terran wanted it to for that Medivac, as he did explode with 3 units still inside of it. So Terran getting ready for another push. You can see that he does have the shield upgrade now for his infantry, so sitting pretty good there. Taking a look at the actual damage upgrades, you see that he doesn't have any just yet, and I don't think the Protoss player does either, so definitely 0-0-0 across the board for both players. And taking a look at the economy, once again, you can see that minerals are getting mined out for both of the bases. It looks like JangMinChul transferred some of his probes up to his natural. Good play there. You can see that there are 2 mules up here at this expansion as well. So nothing else really going on for this SCV still. Probably just a long-lost forgotten SCV. Not too sure what's going on with that. As this probe is going to come over here, watch the Xel'Naga Watchtower, and we have another attack from the Terran player, who's going to get in, and he sees that the forces that are up there at the top of the ramp really could do some damage. There are 4 sentries here, each of them with a decent amount of energy, so could see some force fields blocking off the Terran player. You can see there's one right there blocking off a couple units. However, the Medivac makes a really good play and drags some of them back. So definitely was able to save some of the units there, as the Terran player is continuing to take a couple pot shots on the Zealots with the vision provided by the Medivac. You can see there are more reinforcements here. So pretty much what I've noticed so far in this map is all the engagements take place really in the shortest distance between the 2 players. So that's not really unexpected. It's just like I said, I haven't played this map myself, but I'm kind of hoping that some strategy has evolved where you actually take advantage of the other, 80% of the map. But you know what, whatever, it's still, the map was just released the other day, and we'll just have to see how it goes. As you can see, there are more buildings being placed down here, more gateways you can see, and really the Protoss player is still technically running off of 1 base for minerals. You can see there is another fight right here. Several of the Marauders were force fielded out. However, they were close enough to do some damage to the Zealots, which were attacking the Marauders here at the top of the ramp. Of course, vision is still provided even when these units do go down by the Medivacs, which are hanging out right here. That one just died a horrible death very quickly. And this one's out of energy, actually. So this push probably isn't going to go too well. As you can see, this Medivac is pretty close to dying. Although the Terran player was able to get a couple more reinforcements in here. So really, this is just kind of a back-and-forth tug-of-war here against this one particular, we'll call this Smiley Face Island here, even though it's not really an island. But that's okay, because this stretch of land certainly is happy that all the buildings, or all the fights are taking place on it, as the Terran player does do more move attacks. Very good micro there. Although he did lose. That Marauder sure is lucky, man. I'll tell you what, these Medivacs are being worked to their fullest here. As you can see, they're out of energy right now. This one just about out of energy, and the Protoss player is continuing to sandwich off the Terran forces. But again, the Medivac save coming in. I'll tell you what, if this guy does not have the Medivac achievement by now, I don't know if he will ever get it, as the Terran player is continuing to push in. Another force field went down, but this time it's only blocking off one of the Marauders. So these ones are definitely getting in here and doing a considerable amount of damage. Both players aren't really running off of that giant of an armies at the moment. You can see there's really no more than probably 10 or 15 units on the field in the battle for each player at any given point in time. So this really is a back and forth fight here. As you can see, the Terran has managed to keep enough pressure on the Protoss player to keep the fight back towards his end of the little stretch here. And it looks like we're going to have another run across the smiley face here as, nope, just kidding, Protoss is going to retreat as both players, I guess, are just going to kind of sit back and macro up just a tiny bit. I guess they realized that this fight wasn't really going anywhere. However, the Protoss player, really all he's doing is just warping in units. He's not teching at all. He's just having to maintain these low-tier units to make sure that he has enough defense to keep the pressure off from the Terran player. You can see he does have a Ghost Academy now, and he is researching the Mobius reactor, and he is getting a couple ghosts as well, so might see some EMPs here in the very near future, which would certainly spell doom for the Protoss forces, especially if caught out of position. So you can see, oh, the high five from the workers, but I guess Gon is going to chase the guy. So at this point, like I said, both players just kind of hanging out, realizing that that constant pressure wasn't really getting anywhere fast here. But the Protoss player does have enough units to move out. He might make a play. He is definitely getting down at the bottom of this ramp, going to put another proxy pile on, and Terran hasn't responded just yet, so we do have the ghosts here. And a little bit of chat there, not too sure what that says, but that's okay because both these ghosts are out now, and we might see him move out in the near future, maybe, I don't know. We do have an SCV scouting out here. I guess they're going to test the waters. He is going to see that proxy pile on. And this pro, however, is going to see its very untimely death as he does try to charge up the ramp. It didn't work for the Zealots and Stalkers, guys. I don't think it'd be a good idea to send the probes up there as well. No. I'm sure somebody will be like, oh my god, Anaris, he was just scouting. So we definitely had an EMP or two go down, hit most of the units, pretty good positioning there. You can see that what is left is definitely going to die fairly quickly as the Terran player continues to do damage to the Protoss forces, and really I think the Terran is going to come out on top because his reinforcements are just going to be way better than the Protoss reinforcements, you can see. And there goes JangMinChul, leaving a full second and a half before his GG goes through. Somebody asked me earlier, I think that's just because of the server lag. I don't really know, but it may also just be the way that the replay saves the files. But either way, this Stalker is certainly going to die very quickly, and that was the GG. So, good game on the new map. Looking forward to seeing some more games played on this map. Definitely looking forward to some more strats that kind of expand out and use the other, the other 80% of the map. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you later.